Today is International Youth Day, and in celebration, Gap Kids has launched their Be the Future campaign, where they're honoring inspiring youth who are making a change in their community and across the country.
And our next guest is one of the leaders being recognized. He's the founder and executive director of the youth-led voting and advocacy organization 1 Million of Us, and co-editor-in-chief of the international youth-led environmental publication, The Climate Reporter. I want to welcome 18-year-old Jerome Foster II. Jerome, you got so much going on. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me on today. It's an honor and a pleasure to be talking with you guys.
Of course. Before we get to that wonderful work that you're doing, this Gap Kids Be the Future campaign just launched today. Tell us about that campaign. And why the Gap Kids felt it was so important at this time, and the other youth besides yourself who are being honored.
Yeah, so Gap has always been at the forefront of making sure that we have sustainable regulations and that we are making sure that young people are protected for in our future. So this was another step that they took to honor these young people, from Little Miss Flint, who has been fighting for clean water in Flint, Michigan, whether that's Alexandria Villasenor, who started Earth Uprising to continue the climate strikes, or whether that's myself, who started 1 Million of Us to organize 1 million young people across the United States to register and turn out to vote this November, so that our elected officials really talk about the issues that are impacting young people.
So Jerome, Gap and all the youth activist organizations, they're coming together for the first ever digital youth #BeTheFuture rally. Tell us more about that rally and how kids across the country can get involved.
Yeah, so this is the first ever digital rally, as you mentioned. And what this is really doing is engaging young people in the place that we're used to. We're used to being online. We're used to engaging with other young people. And this is the next step for us to be engaged in with Gap to take that next step. So it's been great because it's an entry point for young people. Whether you're at your local high school talking to a kid at your lunchroom, or engaging in local politics with your city council, or meeting with congressional members. There's so many levels in which you can engage with your peers, and this is one of the biggest ways in where we can see ourselves as the leaders of these movements and see other young people know that our generation is taking steps to fight for our future.
As we said, you're the founder and executive director of 1 Million of Us. Tell us more about the organization, and then I understand you were inspired by the late Congressman John Lewis. Tell me how.
Yeah, so in February 2019, I interned for Congressman John Lewis in my 11th grade year of high school. And during that time, I was inspired by his work in that climate justice and racial justice and immigration reform and all these other movements are about voting. And they're about uniting young people and uniting a new generation around using our voice to vote. So around that premise, I founded 1 Million of Us a month into my internship with Congressman John Lewis to really galvanize the entire youth movement, to have a united call to action for young people to go out to the polls and understand how to vote and be educated around the polls, so that elected officials are not just seeing us as victims of these crises, but people that are their constituents and that they need to take action to stymie these crises. So that's really what the impetus was for me to found this. And as we continue to organize 1 Million of Us, we're seeing more and more young people be excited and energized around actually voting, because in the past, voting had just been get out to vote, and it's been very simple. But when you go out to young people in these communities, in their schools, in their neighborhoods, and tell them that they are part of the million, that they're one of the million, it gives us a fire that's lit inside of us to be part of that movement that sparks change across America.
We can feel your passion, Jerome, and we know another thing you're passionate about is climate change. You're co-editor-in-chief of the environmental publication, The Climate Reporter. Tell us about that and the work you do there.
Yeah, so as I was younger, I always had a deep connection with nature. And as I got older, I saw that the news wasn't really covering climate change in the way that it should have been. So in 2017, after I watched the documentary by Leonardo DiCaprio's Before the Flood, the last few minutes he said that we need more journalists, we need more young people in this movement. So I founded The Climate Reporter as a blog that I just wanted to talk about the environment and talk about climate change. And after a year of me writing about 160 articles, many more young people said, hey, how can we join this? How can we keep writing articles? How can we create a news organization that's run by young people, that's for young people, and that's for organizers and activists across the world? So that's what really drew me to that and drew me to continue writing articles to this day where it's become one of the largest youth-led environmental publications in the world. We have indigenous leaders, we have people that are on the front lines of the climate crisis writing. And we have so many people that are given the platform to tell their own story that is really empowering young people to continue writing.
Well, Gap Kids has picked one of the right people. Congratulations on everything you're doing,
Yeah.
Jerome. For more information
Thank
on
you.
Jerome Foster II and to follow him along on his journey to create change, you can go to, I guess, what is it?
Yeah. 1millionof.us.
There we go, 1millionofus.us.
Yeah.
And for more details on the Gap Kids Be the Future campaign and how you can be a part of the Be the Future rally, you can go to gap.com. You can follow Gap Kids on Instagram. Jerome, thank you so much. Such a pleasure meeting you. You're doing big things, just 18 years old. Wish you the best.
Yes.